We're live on Facebook.
Hi, everyone.
Yay.
Welcome to the
Good
call.
morning.
So thanks for joining us, Kurt and Marsha. We thought we'd do a quick little segment today on personal care products. And I think the topic of the call could be, are you being misled? So, obviously a lot of people go to the supermarket. Do you call it supermarket in America, Kurt?
You bet we do. Or the grocery store.
Good. Okay, go to the grocery store or the supermarket and they'll go down the personal care aisle where all the bathroom products are, and they'll throw in some toothpaste and, maybe some mouthwash, and they'll get some skincare or body soap or things like this, cleanser. And they look at the bottles, Kurt, and they look for the one that they think's the safest. And it says that it doesn't have any harmful ingredients on the front, and they think, well, look at the price difference between that and the Sizzle product. It's probably just the same, so I'm going to buy that. So what do you think about that?
Well, I think my first comment on it is that do people really look to see how safe it is? Do people, what percentage of the population really looks to see the safety factor? I would bet that in reality it's probably less than 20%.
Well, Marsha, what do you think when you look at go into the supermarket? Do you look to check the ingredients and the safety factor?
Yes, I haven't. What I thought I haven't done is buy products that are unsafe, because I realised that I had, I've got them here, 5 products from a certain company. The packaging looks amazing. Looks like it's very natural, green, and like a creamy colour. I did look at the bottle and it said naturally created with no petroleum or mineral oils. So it contains none of these things. No synthetic fragrances, animal derivatives, artificial colours, harsh detergents, propylene glycol, MEA, DEA, TEA, phthalates, triclosan, sulfates, parabens, silicons, no EDTA. So I popped it in my trolley because I thought it was fine.
Yep.
And it's a body lotion, and it cost me $15.
Wow. And then when you actually go and start analysing the label, because we're not going to get into the brand, so I'm sure everyone watching thinking, what brand is she talking about? But we're not going to mention the brand. But if you actually turn over the bottle, they've mentioned that they don't have all these nasty ingredients. But the particular one she's actually talking about, Dr. Kurt, has PEG 150 disterate. And so this is considered a hazardous substance and has toxicity concerns. So do you want to talk a bit about PEGs? And, that leads into the discussion on dioxane, a known carcinogen. So what's the problem with the PEG? And there's more than one PEG. There's PEG 150 and there's all different numbers. But if you see a PEG on a bottle, what's the problem with that?
Well, ethylene glycol, when you see PEG or, all those, that's what that stands for. So polyethylene glycol. And so that's the same thing that they're using in brake fluid. Would you, Marsha, right, would you rub brake fluid on your face? I'm looking at that horrendous look that you're giving me. And would you do that if you knew? I have been doing that.
I've got the whole range right here in front of me. Yes.
Wow. Well, you could stop.
I didn't think I needed to.
You could stop a truck then.
Yeah. I could. I might keep it in my car just in case.
But that's the whole thing, and people they go and they look at these polyethylene glycols and they look at these ingredients. They look at paraben and they think paraben, they must mean paraffin, and they think, oh, it's a wax, and they think, oh, it's safe, and then they start thinking, and I've had people tell me that they say, well, it wouldn't be on the market if it wasn't safe.
Exactly. The other problem I find with some of these bottles is that when you turn them over to look at the ingredients, you just can't even read it. It's so tiny. So I've actually had to take a photo of it and then increase the photo, enlarge it, to see. And I just went, oh, wow, okay.
Right.
So, yeah, they're very good with their packaging, aren't they? And there's a body wash that I've got here. It's a botanical body wash, signature scent. It's a signature, just has big signature across the front of it. Paraben-free, aloe vera, chamomile, purify jojoba, avocado, rosehip, but you turn the bottle and it does definitely have the PEG 150 in it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it may not have a lot of things in it, which is great, but it's got, you know, very, very toxic chemicals in it. So that's what I've been putting on my body every day. And the bottle's $20 to buy.
Yeah. And a lot of people think they kind of equate with, well, it costs more, so it must be better.
Exactly. Yep.
And they don't look at the, like, dioxin. You, like, when we're looking at dioxins, Katie, you had mentioned that earlier for me to comment on it. And dioxins, when it's used, it basically is the same thing that they used in when they were spraying down in the Vietnam War, Agent Orange. And it's very cancer causing and very dangerous. And you start looking at all this stuff, and like Tom and I were talking on that call that we just got done playing, that's where most of your toxins come from, and right from the bathroom.
Yep.
Amazing. Yeah, it says here that depending on the manufacturing process, you know, PEGs can be contaminated with quite measurable amounts of ethyl oxide and dioxane, 1,4-dioxane. Classifies the Cancer Agency on Research classifies it as a known carcinogen, as you've just mentioned, Dr. Kurt. So that is a concern. There's also shown some evidence that it can cause irritation to skin, and obviously, and it says a system toxicity. There's another ingredient too that's also in the products that Marsha was talking about, benzyl PCA alcohol. It's a naturally occurring synthetic ingredient, but it's used as a solvent, but it has been strongly associated with contact allergy. And one or more human cases show allergic effects. And what else has it got here? Classified as to be expected to be toxic or harmful environment, Canada domestic substance list. So again, another ingredient there. So they probably have skipped quite a few nasty ones, but there's definitely some in there that you wouldn't want to be using.
Yeah. Well, and I think another point that we need to make is that, you know, a lot of these companies, they're really, in my opinion, and we won't list any companies, but in my opinion, they're really not on the up and up with us either. They try and slide some ingredients in there that they don't even list on the bottle. And they may list, you know, this ingredient and that ingredient, but when it combines, the two of them together are carcinogenic. So it may not be carcinogenic by itself, but together it can be really bad. And I look at a study that I was told about years ago, probably 12 years ago, and that study was talking about you know, lead and mercury and fluoride and they said that when lead is combined with mercury and it's all combined with fluoride, it makes the toxic soup that much more potentially dangerous. And another study with rats, they took rats and they gave them the non-lethal dose of lead, and then they gave the same batch the non-lethal dose of mercury. And none of the rats died, or very few of the rats died. So they said, well, this is a safe amount. If we use the dose equivalent for the body weight of a human, we can put that in the product. But when you combine the non-lethal dose of lead and the non-lethal dose of mercury at the exact same time, 100% of the rats died.
Wow.
Right.
Amazing. And so when you're talking about all those ingredients, there's also another concern, and this is actually a quote from Tom Maurer, who is, for those of you watching, he's the chief scientist and product formulator for Sizzle. He said, in addition, most plastic bottles contain toxic or potentially harmful ingredients that leach out of the product they contain. Of course, Sizzle products use special plastic under he's got manufacturing conditions to ensure the bottles are safe and non-toxic. So you know, with the packaging, you know, there's chemicals in those plastics like phthalates, BPA, but not just those. People think, oh, it's BPA free and it's safe. Well, no, it's not just BPA. There's other chemicals that they're using that are known carcinogens in plastics. They often will leach out of the containers and enter into the material, into those liquids that are actually in the bottle. And then ultimately then you're adding more chemicals to your body. And because some of those ingredients are solvents and they can really break down, I mean, if they're sitting in the plastic for a while, can you imagine, like, some of that's actually going to be leaching out? I mean, you know, people who drink out of a plastic bottle, if you sit it in the sun with water, you can definitely taste a plasticky taste. So there's stuff going out. So these products have been sitting on the shelf for a long time with some, you know, chemicals in them. So that also adds and compounds the problems as well. I know a lot of people love the Sizzle products because the packaging's safe, and, you know, people even go and use our bottles as drinking bottles because they know Sizzle's gone to the extent of ensuring that the plastic does not leach any, you know, byproduct into the contents of the bottle.
Yeah, and one ingredient that I didn't hear either one of you mention was sodium lauryl sulfate, and that's really a bad one too. If we had Sandy on a call, she would really be able to tell us, you know, how bad it is for our hair and for our scalp.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, there's just a massive amount of list of ingredients that, you know, are potentially harmful, and so you can look these up. There's actually what we'll do is after we finish the video, I'll put a link to the brochure that Sizzle put out there. You've got a bathroom check guide. So you could actually go and take that guide, open your bathroom cupboard, have a look, and just look at the products you're using and check some of the ingredients, because you'll probably be quite shocked at what you'll find in them. And, you know, aside from skin irritations and things like that, it's the cumulative effect that it has on the human body. And, you know, these chemicals over time are actually damaging your DNA. They're accelerating your aging. They're contributing to inflammation, and ultimately potentially, you know, the disease process. So I just think, you know, just making a better choice and switching brands seems logical. What do you think?
Right.
Absolutely. I cannot wait. Yeah, I cannot wait to completely change over.
You're like, I'm going to
little bit by little bit, but
push
now
them
it's
off.
become a really urgent matter. Because, you know, as you know, Katie, I recently purchased the beautiful transfusion cream, and I just love the beautiful fragrance that it has. And my skin did start to heal. Actually, it actually started to become quite bubbly at first, and looked like the skin was kind of spreading apart a little bit. And I was a bit concerned looking in the mirror. And then I noticed a little bit of eczema on my face. But, you know, the product's actually doing what it's meant to do. It's getting rid of all the toxins from all these products that I've been putting on my face every day. So I really have to stop using those products before I can start using that transfusion, because the transfusion is doing its job. It's leaching out those chemicals. But yeah, I've got to stop putting them on my face in the first place.
That's right.
But, you know, it could have been more than that too, because we talked about that. You're actually using this other brand of product on your skin first, and they've got some chemicals in it that are counter-indicative to what the Sizzle product's trying to do. So you've got some toxic ingredients in your cleanser or whatever you're using, then you're putting the Sizzle product on. And I really just think if people are going to use the Sizzle products, use the whole range. You know, even use the shampoo, because, you know, it goes down your face when you're having a shower, and then use your cleanser, the Sizzle firming facial cleanser, in conjunction with the creams. Because if you start mixing and matching, not the best idea. And then you could be having reactions like, you know, that actually could be a reaction of combining the chemicals in the two products.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah. So just really important information to share with people today. You know, particularly if you're doing all the other stuff in terms of like age reversal and looking after yourself with nutritional and all of this, then we want to think about what we're actually putting on our body, what's getting absorbed into our skin, and do we actually trust the manufacturer? Do we trust them enough that we know that they're checking every ingredient for us? And I think that's one thing I love about Sizzle, Kurt and Marsha, is that, you know, it was actually Tom Mauer with his previous company. He had a book published called Dangerous Beauty, and it actually had listed every single product he produced, and it had the Cancer Coalition president actually gave it the stamp of approval and said they were the safest personal care products in the world. You know, he really built himself up to be an authority on safe ingredients, and that's what I love about Tom's products and the Sizzle products. And yeah, now I would question, I get is dubious the right word, if I see another brand of product and I think it looks safe, like what you said, but then you start reading and it presents as safe because it says it doesn't have this, and this, but when you actually look a little bit closer under the surface, you'll find there's probably, you know, a few things they've missed.
That's right.
Like Tom Mauer says, turn the bottle. No, he has a campaign, turn the bottle. And, you know, I'm very, very, very anal about not using anything toxic around my house. So I was quite shocked. Yeah. And I felt a bit angry, really. A bit cheated. So I think they might be receiving a letter or an email from me. So.
Good, great. Anyway, so I thanks for joining us today. I guess I just wanted to raise that. I thought it would be an interesting topic to discuss. I know obviously it affects a lot of people. I'd say all people, because everyone's using bathroom products. Not everyone in the world, but pretty much most people in our country, definitely. And so, yeah, it's a good topic of conversation just to raise awareness, just to be aware of what you're actually using and that you can make better choices, the safer choices. And, you know, by all means, do your own research. And that's what I would say, do your research.
Exactly.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. Did you have anything else you wanted to add to that?
You know, I was just going to say that if we look at these different countries, you know, here in the United States, what do we ban like 500 ingredients, maybe? And I think in Europe, it's 1,300 ingredients are banned in cosmetics and skincare, personal care products. I don't know about Australia. Do you know how many?
I do.
12?
0.
Oh.
0.
They don't
None.
ban anything.
None.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
No.
And Sizzle has over 3,000 on the list of banned ingredients that Tom won't use in Sizzle safe products. So we're way over and above any country, way over in any country out there on the planet.
Yeah, definitely. And then people say, well, how come they're allowed to use them if they're not safe? Because they're assumed safe until proven guilty. So and they take that, I guess, methodology because they were kind of grandfathered in. These products have been around a long time. If they force change upon the companies making them, it's going to cause a big uproar. So they kind of figure, well, if it's not really going to kill you tomorrow, then it's good enough. So then the question has to be, is that good enough for you?
Yeah. And you got to remember there's always the lobbyists too. I mean, there's the story that we heard over in Germany where they were lobbying to ban cigarette smoking. And the cigarette lobbyists went to the federal government in Germany and said, wait, you don't want to do that. You want to leave cigarettes on the market because we actually will help keep the population under control.
Oh, come on. Yeah. Look at your face. I know. Yeah.
Serious?
Did they really say that?
Yes, that's serious.
I'll because they'll help kill them. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, because they can control the population so that the government doesn't have to pay out so much Social Security and retirement benefits in the future by controlling the population. And I don't know if that influenced the government, but the federal government over there didn't ban cigarettes. Then they haven't banned them here.
Well, the other thing, I thought it was more the fact, because if you're not banning them, people don't just die. They get sick and then if there's a public health system, they're going to cost the public health system a ton of money. So it's actually worse for the government than the person actually passing away, because now they're going to be sick for a prolonged period of time before they do. I thought it was more that actually they're taking taxes from the sales of those cigarettes. They'd be, taking a significant tax.
Yeah, they're getting some of that too.
Well.
But yeah, I think it has more to do with the lobbyists. But anyhow, that's another subject, talking about cigarettes.
Yeah. All right, good. Marsha, did you want to add anything in closing?
Yes, I think that, it's really important to make sure that we're not using any of these products with toxic ingredients because, from a personal point of view, as you all know, I've had really severe autoimmune symptoms and that's, it's just an overload of toxins on the body and, the gut breaking down and the liver not functioning properly and the liver and the kidneys actually not being able to process the overload of toxins. And here we are putting it directly on our skin. So that's why it's so important to make sure that from all levels that you know, from food and water and personal care products and vitamins and everything that we're taking. We really need to take control of our own health and healing journey, and preventative health as well.
That's right.
Yeah, fantastic. Great. All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us on the call today. Hopefully you got some valuable information and something to think about. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Bye.
Thanks, Kurt. See you, Katie. Bye.
Bye.